Hello, spooky friends. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. We are your horror besties here to break down all the blood, guts, and all the spooky stuff in between. I'm Emma, and today I am joined by our producer, who is bravely stepping in for Allie on this episode.
Hey, hi, hello.
Allie is, she's dealing with a little bit of family stuff right now. We love her so much. Everyone send her all of your love. She will be right back on our next episode, but she wanted me to tell you all that she was just possessed by Annabelle. So you can just go with that.
That's fair.
Yeah. This is so exciting too, because this is our first big episode of the year. We obviously had our 2025 wrap up, and then this is our first full length review of the year. So excited to be diving into 2026 and talking about this movie today. Do you want to tell everybody? I mean, I kind of blurted it out already, but what are we reviewing today?
We are doing 2014's Annabelle.
Ooh, spooky. You guys, I just watched this for the first time the other day.
I don't even know how that's possible.
I actually don't know either. But I think back then I was such a Dead Silence fan that I was like, just no, I'm not going to watch this weird, creepy doll movie.
Do you think it was because it's a spinoff and that kind of turned you off to it?
Yeah, potentially, because I did love like the Conjuring so much, and then spin-off stuff. I mean, I even to this day, you guys, I've only seen the very first Nun because I just can't stomach my way through all of them. But I will say, you and I did watch all three of the Annabelles in the last few days, and I'm really, really glad that we did get through all of them, because now I can say I have seen them. I can draw some conclusions between all three. And it kind of worked out today that this was the film that we are reviewing, because Allie fucking hates this film.
Perfect.
So she was very happy to pass it off to you and I.
Oh, good. Leave it to me.
All that being said, too, if you have not seen Annabelle, you guys, this is your spoiler warning. We're going to be recapping everything that happened. So if you don't want us to ruin it for you, stop now, go check it out. But if you're ready to go, come and check out this doll collection with us and dive right into the Conjuring cinematic universe.
I like your doll.
A little spooky. This film's summary is about a couple who is beginning to experience terrifying supernatural occurrences involving a vintage doll shortly after their home is invaded by satanic cultists. This, to me, sounds like a way more exciting movie than it actually ended up being, in my personal opinion.
And like we mentioned, it is a direct spinoff of The Conjuring.
Yes, yeah. So The Conjuring came out in 2013, and Annabelle was released on October 3rd of 2014. This is actually super interesting. It had a worldwide total of $257 million against a production budget of only $6.5 million. And it was the highest grossing horror movie of 2014. But we looked into that a little bit. Do you want to tell the folks at home what we found?
So when I saw that stat, I was like, there is no way, no how.
No way.
And then I looked up, I'm like, okay, what's the highest grossing horror movies of 2014? This was in fact on the top. Number 2, Ouija. Number 3, I think, was Paranormal Activity. 3, it was a surprise to hear that this was not a big year for horror.
And not a big year for like original stories. You know, you got Paranormal 3, you got, what was the other one you said?
And Ouija.
Oh, Ouija.
Which was also super corny. But this was directly battling with Gone Girl. Gone Girl came out the same day. And Gone Girl only made, I think, 300,000 more on its box office weekend. And
I love Gone Girl. That's a great film. The funny thing, too, about this making so much money is that this film received generally negative reviews from critics, with the consensus being that Annabelle, quote unquote, borrows from better horror films with a string of cheap jolts that fail to build on a far more effective The Conjuring. All of that being said, though, I think it's no one's surprise that this got a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
Which is high, in my opinion.
I agree. I'm very surprised it even got that high.
Yeah.
You guys, wow, I'm actually realizing now that I'm talking about this, I didn't really care for this one at all. I mean, you guys know, I usually have something nice to say about almost every horror movie, and I usually like them a lot more than what everyone else feels, but I kind of agree and sort of think it could have been rated even lower. Yeah. It was just dry for me.
Well, if you compare it to Rotten Tomatoes, tomato meter was 28%, popcorn meter was 35%. So significantly lower than that 5.5 on IMDb.
Yeah.
We would almost assume it would be a 3.54. IMDb folks love this one.
Yeah.
Ish.
Okay.
Sort of.
All right. Something interesting too is that this film, it pulled from the opening scene of The Conjuring. So if you've seen The Conjuring, you know what I'm talking about. And it's safe to say that this spinoff was definitely premeditated. The film was one of the first in a new strategy by Warner Brothers and New Line that capitalized on built-in fan bases for successful films, allowing for smaller budgets and production time with a bigger payout on the back end. So at the release of this film, the prequel, Annabelle Creation, was already in the works. They knew what they were doing, which I'm not going to lie. I think sometimes when there's a horror franchise that's already in everyone's minds and it hasn't even been conceptualized just yet, it just puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on the other films within, like on all of them within each other in the franchise. Even Scream films. I just finished Ashley Collins' great book, and you guys know if you're on Patreon and in our book club, it's called Your Favorite Scary Movie, and it's all about the Scream franchise. And they go through every single film, all about the background of it. And one of the things that she talked a lot about, especially with Kevin Williamson, is that it's really, really hard when you're making a film and someone's already expecting the second one and you haven't even conceptualized the first one yet. And that really stuck with me. So anyways, just had to throw that in there.
Because if you've noticed, especially with horror, like let's say, for instance, like Friday the 13th has so many sequels. But the fact that this almost did seem, like you said, premeditated, I don't know if that kind of dampers it for me.
Yeah.
Because obviously The Conjuring came out first. It opened with the scene showing Annabelle. The Conjuring's going to be the main franchise, but before we've even released it, we're already gotten other stuff in the works, which is sometimes cool, but it does give me the impression of money grab.
Oh, well, absolutely. Yeah, they have money in their eyeballs, and that's what they see.
Dollar signs.
And that's exactly why they're talking about this new strategy, quote unquote, that capitalizes on built-in fan bases for successful films. It's like, oh, let's already take a fan base that everyone loves. And I mean, hello, we have like The Nun all off of all of that, but they have room to do more if they wanted to, because they can capitalize on all that. Before we spend way too much more time on that, because I feel like we both feel very passionate on that, I did want to bring up that this film was directed by John R. Leonetti. It was 17 years since his last theatrically directed movie, and he was the cinematographer of not only Child's Play 3, but did you know he was also the cinematographer for The Conjuring as well?
I must have missed that. Was he really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Little connection there, which was really cool. And then the writer of this film is Gary Dauberman, and he directed Annabelle Comes Home. So kind of funny, kind of like, a little bit incestual in a way, but very cool.
No, really
I
cool.
like that. I like when, I know we just kind of harped on sometimes not liking, these strategic franchises, but I do think it's cool when they use some of the same creative people, because you can feel the connections between all three of the films. They don't vary that much from all in terms of style.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the film, shall we?
Oh, chills.
Okay. All right. So this film, you guys, opens with a brief sort of flash forward. And this is that exact scene that's from The Conjuring, where it involves two young women and they're recounting a terrifying experience with a possessed doll. They are nurses and they came into possession of this doll, and they have been noticing nothing but scary, creepy things. And they're actually talking to Ed and Lorraine Warren about this. And they describe how the doll seemed to have moves on its own and it's exerting some malevolent influence. And then we're positioning Annabelle as already this infamous character. So before the film has even started, we know that she has something sinister going on. The Warrens are explaining to these gals that the doll itself is not possessed, but it's being manipulated by something demonic. Then the movie just rewinds to tell the original story. So that's all we get of that scene. I like the beginning of this film being set up this way because it kind of throws you directly into the chaos, so to speak. You haven't witnessed what Annabelle has done necessarily, but you're hearing it recounted by people that have experienced it. And it's using this framing device to help build this credibility. And some people could argue that it spoils a little bit of the mystery of it. But I think if you are going to a film called Annabelle, you've seen the cover of the poster and it's this fucking demonic looking doll, you know that she's fucking shit up. You kind of know what to expect there. So to me, I sort of like a framing device that helps build that credibility. And it helps already show ooh, she has a history. And now we're going into like, what was the origin of that history?
Yeah. But the scene was needed because let's say you haven't seen The Conjuring.
Yep.
But you're seeing Annabelle.
Yeah, totally.
You can't just hop straight in. And then also, let's say you need that reminder, like, oh yeah, that doll from The Conjuring. A lot of people probably actually didn't put two and two together when they saw this.
Yeah, I think it's also cool that this story of Annabelle is based on a real doll named Annabelle. And y'all know, if you have been reading the news in recent history, the fact that one of her handlers passed away, people have all kinds of theories that that might be related to Annabelle because they were moving her around and she was on tour, quote unquote, when she needs to just be left the fuck alone. That's what the Warrens wanted. I mean, they're not the best people, but they seemed like they knew what they were doing, trying to lock up things that shouldn't be touched. I mean, I could go on a whole bonus episode about that whole thing, but I do think that that adds a little bit of an element of scare to it, if you do know the story of like how the real Warrens are connected to that doll. Anyways, I digress. So going back in time a little bit, we are now set back to, I think it's like 55, right? Or
it was
67.
Yes.
1967. We are introduced to John and Mia Form, who are a young married couple, and they're expecting their first child. Something funny here is that Mia is played by an actress named Annabelle Wallis. And it's funny, her name is literally Annabelle. So it kept like tripping me up when I was looking at some of the facts about the film and researching, because if you type in Annabelle or Annabelle movie, sometimes her name will just come up because she's the actress in the film. So I thought that was kind of funny. John Form is played by Ward Horton, that's a cool name, kind of old fashioned. The characters' names Mia and John refer to the lead actors in Rosemary's Baby from 1968, and that is Mia Farrow and John Cassavetes. Isn't that crazy? That's a fun fact.
It's funny that they use the names of the actors. Usually when they're referencing another movie as like an Easter egg, it's the characters' names or a character name from, like we see Loomis all the time.
Yeah. They just maybe didn't want to be so obvious.
Yeah.
They wanted people like us that are actually looking at the shit behind the film to really like find that out.
Obvious would have been fun.
Yeah. Would have been fun for a lot more people, definitely. John is a medical student and Mia is this sweet, devout woman. She's pretty much mostly defined by her pregnancy. And they live in this cute little modest community. I think they live in Santa Monica, California. And they live in a cozy, quiet neighborhood with really nice church-going neighbors. And one of the neighbors is a little bit of an older couple, not like too old, but maybe like they've got 10, 15 years on them. And they go to church together. And their names are Sharon and Pete Higgins. They're really, really excited for John and Mia's baby, as their adult daughter doesn't speak to them any longer. And we don't get a lot of information about their relationship with their daughter. We just know that it's definitely strained. Mia and John are in their nursery and they're just taking a look at everything. And Mia is still getting the nursery all set up. And John surprises her with a vintage porcelain doll that completes her doll collection. And in the beginning, we see little glimpses of dolls, but it's not until Annabelle comes into the room that we really see how vast Mia's doll collection is. It is scary.
Terrifying.
She is one of those people.
And she is going to be someone's grandmother with said doll collection.
Yep. And it's mentioned that this new doll that comes to be Annabelle, is very rare. She had been looking for this doll for a very long time. So she was very, very surprised that John had found the doll. He doesn't give away how he found the doll. He just is excited to give it to her.
She knew what it was before she even opened the box.
Correct.
So this is something that she has apparently really wanted for a while.
She's been looking for it for a long time.
Especially with the size of said box. She was like, oh, this is a humongous motherfucker.
Yeah.
So we knew.
And Annabelle actually looks sort of like some of the other dolls that she has sitting on the shelf where she ends up putting Annabelle. Like if you notice, they're dressed in very similar garb. Right there is almost a little clue that they may be coming from the same doll maker and that they are potentially part of an actual collection.
What's wrong with the American Girl dolls? Why couldn't we just,
She just needs a kit.
It's obviously too early for Beanie Babies, but fuck, man. Like this doll is not, like all these dolls are pretty small.
Yeah.
I feel like Annabelle is almost like a whopping like 2.5, 3 feet. This thing is huge.
I had a Barbie doll that wasn't, they called it like a life-size Barbie doll, but it was definitely like still smaller than me, but I think it was like 3 feet. And
That is nuts.
but she was cute. Like she wasn't scary.
Yeah.
Like she was like actually cool.
Until
like,
you shaved all her hair off. and
No,
then
we
it was-
hung out. Like we were friends.
We hung out?
So
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, hold on, we hung out?
well, I mean, I was an only child, so I mean,
fair.
I had to hang
Same.
out with something. So, although this story is fictional, the real Annabelle doll that is in possession of like the Warrens' legacy is a Raggedy Ann doll, which I also had as a child. That scares me now as an adult.
But not as creepy. Raggedy
Not as
Anns
creepy.
aren't, they're mostly cotton and stitching, and they're not nearly as creepy as this porcelain doll that has facial expressions.
Well, and let me ask you this. Like when you see Annabelle, this is before she gets tattered and torn and all these things. Like she looks respectable, like a respectable young lady. She hold on. You're looking at me like psycho.
Sure.
I just mean she doesn't have the scratches. She doesn't have, she's cleaned up.
Yeah.
Do you find,
Yeah.
I know what you're going to say.
Totally.
Do you find her creepy?
Of course. Look at her damn like it's not so a lot of it isn't coming from what she's wearing. It's not even really the facial expression, but it's just her face in general. It's just like a lot of dolls, of her dolls specifically, look fairly realistic in a way.
Yeah.
Where no child looks like this doll. There's something about the eyes are like weirdly sunken in, and there's something about the mouth also. It's got a weirdly big mouth, and it's just, there's something about it.
She gives me Dead Silence vibes.
Yeah.
She gives me almost, what is that called?
Like a ventriloquist dummy?
Yes.
Yeah.
She gives me ventriloquist vibes. And I'm just waiting for her to speak the entire film, which is kind of funny because we never get that satisfaction. But anyways, yeah, she gives me Dead Silence vibes in the best way. And obviously there's the connection there with James Wan. So I fully agree, though. I do think that she's super creepy. However, I think that as the viewer, we're not meant to necessarily think that she's super creepy. I mean, she's super creepy to us, but we can understand that Mia doesn't find her creepy because of how extensive her doll collection is. Same thing as like Joe Dirt's mom and how she collects all the little clowns. Most people would be like, that's fucking scary. But to her, it's like her best thing ever.
Well, that's because like dolls are historically creepy. That creepiness doesn't come from movies.
Yeah.
The fear of clowns doesn't necessarily come from movies and media. It's just because they are naturally a creepy thing.
Yeah.
There's just something about them.
And you know what? You can make a doll movie as many times as you want. It'll always be scary. It's never going to lose its charm. After Mia has been gifted with Annabelle and, all seems well in the Form household, late one night while sleeping, Mia and John, actually Mia specifically first, she kind of hears a little bit of noise or something like kind of wakes her up out of her sleep. And she's trying to figure out what's going on, but trying to be quiet and not waking John. And she looks into her bedroom or out of her bedroom window across the way to her neighbor's house, the Higgins. And she can't really see anything going on, but she just has a feeling that something's happening. Then all of a sudden, she hears a scream coming from their house. And we as the viewers see that they have been attacked by someone, but we're only seeing it from the vantage point of looking into their bedroom window. So we don't get a full view of everything that's happening.
We just see like somebody in white and some blood.
Yeah.
There's so much blood.
There's so much blood. And Mia wakes up John to help figure out what's going on, and she wants him to go investigate. And they both find out that unfortunately there were 2 members of a Mason-esque kind of cult. They have broken into the Higgins house and they have murdered their neighbors. Then go on to attack John and Mia. Mia actually gets stabbed in the belly, and she's pregnant, you guys. So
Right in his belly.
that was really scary because at first I was like, oh, that baby gone.
It's a couple. It's a man and a woman. John gets attacked. I think he gets like knocked out or knocked down or something like that. And there's a lady that's screaming like a banshee. And then, yeah, right in the belly.
Yeah.
And it was the second that happens, you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, it's very, very scary. And before these cultists can completely off John and Mia, I mean, they've already offed the Higgins couple. Police arrive just in time and they kill the male cultist. But the female cultist, we find her and she's in the nursery. She's in Mia's baby's nursery, and she slits her own throat while sitting down, and she has Annabelle in her arms, Terrifying, terrifying. And later, it is discovered that the assailants were actually Annabelle Higgins, which is Sharon and Pete Higgins, their neighbor's daughter, the one that was estranged that we mentioned a little earlier in the podcast, I guess her boyfriend. And they murdered her parents and are said to have been part of a demonic cult. So they weren't actually directly tied to Manson, but doing Manson type shit.
Well, it's funny because I don't know if we actually mentioned on when they were watching the TV earlier, they were talking about Charles Manson and everything. So this is prevalent to the Manson cult, but apparently not directly related, like you were saying. But apparently all this, when Annabelle, the lady, slits her throat, all this blood goes onto the Annabelle doll.
And that's going to come into play a little bit later. What did you think about us going heavy into just immediately like home invasion stuff versus like supernatural right out of the gate?
The home invasion, to be honest with you, of John and Mia didn't make a lot of sense. So the lady Annabelle attacking her parents and everything like that, yeah, sure, there's a direct connection. But them going directly next door and attacking John and Mia didn't really add up, in my opinion. Like what's
well, I think they did.
motive?
I think they did that because John went over next door and
Like
started shaking things up. Yeah, so they had to kill witnesses.
Yeah,
And it's a movie.
it's a movie. Yeah, we're gonna move this plot along.
Yeah. I think for the purpose of it just being like home invasion, that always does scare me because it's like a real thing that could totally happen, especially back in that time when people were scared of Manson type people just running amok.
Amok.
I liked that it was giving us a different type of horror, a different type of scare right out of the gate versus just going straight into the supernatural stuff. And
Well, it's adding trauma.
Yes.
Because we're going to get into a lot of things later where trauma has to come into play to justify things being seen.
absolutely.
Someone has to feel a little crazy and they have to use trauma as an excuse.
Yeah. All in all, the Forms survive this little ordeal, but the house definitely no longer feels safe to them. Mia is put on some strict bed rest as a result of the attack and the stab to her stomach. Everything seems to be fine with the baby, but I think
Somehow.
she had some sort of trauma to like her cervix or something where they're like, we just don't want anything happening to you or your baby. So like you're on bed rest. So Mia ends up putting Annabelle in a rocking chair. Bitch loves fucking rocking chairs.
She loves a rocking chair.
Let me tell you. It's just sad because the nursery has been tainted, right?
yeah.
This very traumatic thing has happened. A woman committed suicide in this nursery and bled on her beloved rare Annabelle doll
In a room in the nursery of a child that you're bringing into the world.
that you're bringing into the world. Yeah. So
And it's like that feeling.
bad
and
omens.
that feeling and those images are never going to go away.
Exactly. And this is where things start to happen is once Annabelle's like placed in the rocking chair, Mia comes back at one point and she returns to see that Annabelle has moved. She definitely thinks that the doll is creepy and just involved in some way in these mysterious like happenings. And so Mia asks John to throw it away. It just feels tainted. It doesn't feel right. She's like, it's a reminder of what happened. John ends up taking the Annabelle doll and he dumps it into the trash bin outside. So
it doesn't seem he's psyched about it because he was like, we don't know
the journey he took to get that doll.
We don't know the hoops that he had to go through to get this doll because if it's considered super rare and it's something she really wanted and is surprised he was able to get his hands on it.
Yep.
We don't know how much he spent on it, two, how long he took to get it. And he was just like,
That is,
all right.
that's very true.
It is tainted.
Yeah, very, very true. Some stuff then happens the next day. So while John is at work, she's on her bed rest, she's just like doing some stuff around the house. Not like she's obeying her bed rest, but she's trying to keep herself busy. So one of the things that she's doing is she has this Singer sewing machine and she's doing a little bit of sewing and she's watching some TV. John's gone. I want to say here too that there's several times where we see her sewing and you're just waiting for her finger to get caught.
These sewing scenes were effective because it's like, I don't know if it was just the sound and like it was very tight shots of her hand next to this needle. You're just waiting for something to happen.
She's not paying attention. You're like, girl, pay attention.
It was like a 10-second scene that felt like 10 minutes.
Yeah. And in this scene, very specifically, in the kitchen, we see the stove turn on by itself. And there is a little Jiffy Pop that was left on the stove from the night before. John was going to make her popcorn. They ended up not making any popcorn, what have you. So he left it on the stove.
Have you had that kind of popcorn before?
Yeah, delicious.
I've only had it a couple times in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, delicious. I love it.
But it is funny, like when this whole scene, all I could think about was Scary Movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Where it grows to like 6 feet tall, this giant balloon of Jiffy Pop.
Yeah. And then you just think of Scream even,
Yeah.
right? You're like,
yeah.
You're like, popcorn. Popcorn's just so iconic. We fucking love popcorn. You know, we get popcorn every time we go to the movies. We love it. Like I said, the stove is turning on by itself. It's heating up this popcorn. This whole thing, though, is very dangerous. Like, it's heating shit up that's not there. It's heating the popcorn up, and she has no idea that that's happening, and she's in the other room.
Luckily, it's an electric stove, so no gas leaks.
Yeah, luckily. But just like we have been anticipating, she cuts her finger on the sewing machine. Kind of thank God that happens because it gets her to come out of her little trance. Like, who knows what could have happened if she just stayed sewing there? Like, because a fire does ensue and she smells smoke. She sees the fire. She tries to run out of the house, but ends up tripping over a chair. She falls on her stomach, then starts to crawl. And it's such a tragic scene because she's already been through this trauma by literally getting stabbed in her belly. It is like, nobody wants this woman to survive her pregnancy. And it's so sad. But then she is dragged by an unseen force. A group of men then run into the house and pull her out. So she gets this weird paranormal moment, but it's like so chaotic, right? It happens so quickly. And then all of a sudden there's firemen, I'm assuming, or like policemen come in and help her.
They had to, I don't think we ever got really clarification. If they were,
she got saved by someone.
If they were firemen, that means that this local, like the Santa Monica first responders act quick.
Close as fuck.
Because those cops showed up super fast. So if these are firefighters, oh my God.
Yeah. It's all like very, very scary. However, in this next moment, it ends very positively because she's obviously been taken to the hospital. And John, he runs to find Mia as soon as he finds out that she has like been admitted and what's happened. She's totally unharmed. And what's more is that she gave birth to a healthy baby girl. And they decide to name her Leah.
Something that's cool that I read that so a nurse comes in holding the baby, and that was apparently one of the nurses from the beginning of the film.
Really?
It was the same actress at least. So I'm assuming she was playing the same person. Yeah.
That's fucking cool. Huh.
But also, this baby is resilient. This baby got stabbed. This baby took a face plant, just bouncing around in her belly. Totally fine.
She's literally born to be a badass. Justice for Leah.
This kid went through the ringer before even coming into the world.
She did.
It's going to go through more shit.
Yeah, just wait. After little Leah is born, the Forms decide to move. And rightfully so. Mia cannot be in that place any longer. Not only because of the fire, but because of other shit that's happened, because of all the trauma with their neighbors getting fucking murdered next door and then them getting freaking stabbed. I mean, there's a lot of trauma. And you mentioned that before, like heavy, heavy trauma in this film. So they moved to an apartment building in Pasadena to start fresh. And I believe that John also got residency at like a hospital in Pasadena. So it kind of made sense for them to move anyways. They're going to use this as an opportunity to start fresh. And for a brief time, things do feel like relatively calm.
Happy family. Happy family, happy times.
Yeah.
Lack of Annabelle dolls.
Lack of Annabelle dolls. And they have a church that they're attending still. And they're very happy at least to still have like that part of their community. And at one point, Mia is at church and she runs into Father Perez. And he is played by Tony Amendola. As they have this little interaction right outside of church, they're chatting a little bit and he's seeing Leah, probably the first time maybe, and he asks if he can take a picture of Mia and Leah together.
Weird?
I knew you were going to say that
weird?
Was weird.
It was weird.
No, I think that's sweet.
It was weird.
Then later, back at home, while Mia is going through, she's like unpacking her creepy dolls. The Annabelle doll, who we all thought was supposed to be gone, mysteriously reappears in the bottom of a moving box. She's like, John, what the fuck? Thought this was like thrown out. Like, what's going on here? And John is obviously weirded out that it also suddenly reappeared. But Mia just places it back up with her other dolls, thinking that it might have just gotten packed or mixed up with some other things after the fire.
John was like, "Nope, give it to me. I'll take care of it. I threw that away." And
He's like very adamant, like,
yes,
I threw that away.
He's like, "Give it to me. I'll get rid of it." And she kind of like puts her foot down. I think it almost seemed like she was really taking this fresh start. She was like, "No, you bought this.
This was a gift."
It was you're right. Yeah, it was a gift." And she was kind of like, "We're going to move forward with this whole thing."
Yeah.
But I'm like, brother, speak up. You know this is weird.
Yeah.
You know you threw this away. There is no rhyme or reason. If she's surprised it showed up, that means that she didn't put it back in the box. And if she didn't put it back in the box, you didn't put it back in the box. Leah didn't put it back in the box. Brother, like, speak up. No, this is weird.
Yeah.
And they just move on. Like, yeah okay.
Yep.
We could have avoided all this if it would have been like, you know what? No, I'm going to take it down to the nearest creek and throw it in there.
And we will try to find you a brand new one.
We'll get another one
that has not been tainted by evil cultists.
We learned in the second movie.
Demons.
We learned in the second movie that they made 100 of them.
Yep.
There's enough. There's probably enough of these creepy dolls to go around. That's not previously covered in blood.
Well, to each his own. Lo and behold, strange activity continues as Mia is adjusting to her new life with her newborn and with John working full time. The ghost of the cult lady from the beginning, she has like a couple of little cameos where she's like walking around the apartment.
Checking out the new digs. Like,
while Mia's asleep.
Look at this new place you guys got. You guys went all the way to Pasadena. That's crazy.
Like, this is so fun. Mia also ends up meeting two neighbor children, Robert and Nancy, who are coloring in the apartment stairwell. Nancy tries to introduce herself to them, but Robert, he warns his little sister not to talk to strangers, rightfully so.
Smartest kid ever.
But, she clocks like, okay, there's these two little kids. Like, she's going to try to be nice to them, and they're coloring little pictures. And then while out and about, Mia happens upon like a bookstore, and she meets Evelyn, who works at the local bookstore. And Evelyn is played by Alfre Woodard. She is also a neighbor that lives in the same apartment building as Mia and John as well. Then back at her apartment building, Mia, she can't find the children any longer. Like, they're not on the stairwell, but she's finding little drawings of theirs, and it's almost like leading her on a path, as if someone was dropping cookie crumbs. She finds like one drawing and then goes up a flight of stairs, finds another, so on and so forth.
The drawings at first are really, really cute, but then she's going up the stairwell, and it's almost as if the kids are above the stairs, dropping them. You see these pieces of paper kind of flutter down onto the ground.
Thank you. I forgot that detail. That's very true. I think Mia feels like she's just playing a little game with them, where they're dropping a little drawing and she's picking it up. As she continues up the steps and collects more of these drawings, she sees that they're kind of forming this disturbing sequence, showing Mia pushing Leah's stroller, and then Leah's stroller goes into traffic, and the final image depicts Leah crushed.
Dark.
By a truck. Very, very dark.
Which is not a surprise. I'll be honest. I remember getting in trouble in elementary school for drawing some fucked up shit.
You totally would do that.
No, kid you not. I loved Friday the 13th when I was a kid. I loved Jason, and I drew some scenes from some of these movies. A lot of them had some blood, and I got into a lot of trouble. So it's not, I'm not saying it's these kids, but it also wouldn't be surprised if some kids were drawing some fucked up shit like that. Robert might be a freak.
Or it might just be a demon doll.
There's that might be it too.
Needless to say, Mia is obviously very shaken, and good for her. She takes the drawings and shows them to her husband. And he at first kind of dismisses her. But one thing I will say about John is he's not one of those husbands, though, that thinks that she's crazy. He's trying to...
Yet.
I personally didn't think like he...
We will get into some points that he does... He does have a lot of moments of dismissing her.
Yeah. I think...
Which is also a trope in horror movies. It's a lot of the husband always dismisses
so that's what I'm trying to say is I think it's a lot more intense in other movies where John, I was surprised at how fast he actually started to believe her. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
In his defense, he does do it in a very caring and loving way.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't think he's
being like a dick about it.
Not at all. No. He's understanding where she's coming from, but I think it's also going back to that trauma that we talked about earlier. He was like, hey, you might be overthinking it because you have gone through some stuff.
Correct. He does do that, but I'm surprised that he doesn't hold on to that for very long, but we'll get there.
But he does make a valid point that there's really nothing to worry about because the drawings are not good.
I love that.
Which is honestly something I would have said. I was like, these drawings kind of suck.
I think when we watched this, you did say that. You were like, this is something I would say.
Oh yeah. It's like these drawings aren't really
They're
good.
not
There's
good.
nothing you have to worry about. These drawings suck.
So later that night, Mia is alone. She's got a couple little weird things that happen, some more creepy disturbances, like some music turns on by itself. She sees a shadow in the curtains that kind of blow at her and knock her down from the window. And then she sees this one is actually the scariest, in my opinion, so at first she sees a child running by her laughing, and she goes to try to follow it, and she sees the ghost of a young girl across the hall. Then in the room that she's at, the door closes and the girl starts to run towards the door, and it's a young girl at first, but then the door kind of closes, and I love this shot because when it opens back up, it swings back up, and it's the adult Annabelle Higgins, and she's has a knife in her hand and is running very aggressively and scary towards Mia, and then she just like disappears.
Which is also, if she went and told John about this, once again, it would just be the trauma thing all over again because that's something she kind of experienced.
So this is what I wanted to bring up for you, is that I get what you're saying about him being a little bit dismissive, but when she does tell John later on, like you said, unsurprisingly, he does dismiss her again, but he says, what would we do in this situation but turn to God? And he does encourage them to go talk to Father Perez, which I think would be more than a lot of other husbands would do. Yeah. So I like to give him that little bone.
Like in his defense, in that conversation, he was like, I think you need help. Mm-hmm. She was like, oh, you want me to see a shrink? And he was like, no, correct, not a shrink.
Yeah.
And then they go and talk to, Father Perez. I don't even know if that's the right move in that moment. I would have been like, girl, we need to see it.
Yeah.
We need to see a shrink.
Yeah. We need to get into some counseling.
I don't know what's more proactive in this moment.
Yeah. Well, before things come to more of a head with Father Perez, another kind of big thing happens to Mia that really kind of seals the deal for her that something really sinister is going on.
In my opinion, the best scene of the movie.
Yes. I did want to say that this basement and elevator scene that we're about to talk about right now, this scene specifically was directed by James Wan. And I think that is a huge reason why it is so good and arguably one of the best of the film.
If James Wan wants to come in and direct a scene and make this the best part of the movie, have at it, my friend.
Please do it. Please do it. So while Mia is taking some boxes down to their basement, she comes in contact with a rogue stroller and what sounds like a crying baby, and it looks just like her stroller of Leah's.
It's like an old-timey like black stroller.
Oh yeah, it looks just like Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah, which makes it even creepier. I don't know what it's about this specific stroller.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That might have also been what the strollers looked like back then. I mean, this is 67, 68.
I'm glad they got better.
Yeah. Less creepy. What if I want one like that? I think those are sick.
I think that'd be badass. Yeah. I'm gonna say it's creepy.
Yeah.
But there's nothing, I'm not gonna say don't use it.
We may have a creepy child.
Yeah, just don't push it in the traffic.
Yeah, I won't be doing that.
Okay.
As she goes to investigate this potentially crying baby, she comes across the demon who has been haunting her through Annabelle. This demon is played by music composer Joseph Bishara, who also played Bathsheba in The Conjuring and the lipstick demon in Insidious. He also composed the music for both of those as well. So he is a dual threat in many ways.
Which is kind of crazy. It's like I remember when we learned that fact when it came to Insidious and The Conjuring, it's so funny that he's not just like a random dude that likes to play demons. He's also the music composer.
Yeah, just okay. Yeah.
And it's like, but all of those, like, James Wan is attached to all of those, which you see a lot of times when these guys, they like to bring on a lot of the same people. It's like, oh, who's going to compose the music? I got a guy. Who's going to be this demon?
Same guy.
I got the same guy.
Yeah. Bring him in. He's perfect. He's perfect.
I got a guy.
And I will say he's terrifying in this. I know that you find the demon to be extremely cheesy.
When we see more of him.
Yes, I agree.
When we see him in better lighting, very wonky.
Yeah. But he does a good job, though, I think, of just acting creepy as fuck.
Totally.
And
Always on the ceiling for some reason.
yeah. In this moment, there's a terrifying like back and forth in the elevator. So
good.
She is trying to escape. She's obviously scared, so fucking scared. And the elevator, it'll close, but it will not go up. And then it opens again and she's on the same floor.
It happened like 3 times.
Yeah.
And it's like, regardless of the sewing machine stress, I felt like this was one of the more stressful things because she's in the elevator and it closes, she's safe, and then it opens back up again. You're like, oh shit.
And every time it opens up too, you're just like, oh fuck, we're gonna get a jump scare right now with the demon. Like, it's so fucking scary. She eventually bolts though to the stairwell where she comes face to face with the demon as she's going up these stairs. And there's this creepy moment where they're kind of having a cat and mouse a tiny bit where she's like looking over the railing and we only see the fingers. I think I read somewhere that there was a separate actress who did the hands of the demon and she was the hands in several of the films. I could be totally wrong on that.
She probably had longer, lankier fingers.
Yeah, but it was, I'm like, dude, those hands were like the thing in Addams Family, like totally worth the credit of their own. And I think this whole scene, and I know you agree with me, is the scariest of the film.
Oh, so good. Especially because she's at the top of the stairs. She looks down the stairs and she sees the demon at the bottom of the stairs kind of like kneeling down, kind of on his all fours at the bottom of the stairs. And it's really dark out. You can only see like the eyes and some of the silhouette, but there's a storm outside. And then there's some lightning. When the lightning happens, suddenly he's in her face, upside down.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I remember when we were watching this, the scene actually really got you.
Oh, God, of course it did.
Yeah.
Of course it did.
Effective.
I'm like a little baby.
Thanks, Jimmy Wan.
Yeah. Thanks. This whole situation, though, this results in Mia's arm getting slashed by the demon. And it's like a weird symbol. It almost looks like an A to me. And
she is now the Scarlet Letter.
Yes. And Mia almost recognizes the symbol, but she isn't sure exactly from where. And then we find out later that the mark mysteriously disappears and it's healed.
I feel like at this moment, she has to be like, oh my God, am I crazy?
No, things have totally escalated. And she's like, I need some answers because I can't keep going down this same route, right? What she does first is she contacts Detective Clarkin, who was the one that investigated the murder of her neighbors, at the beginning of the film. And he's giving her a little bit more details about the 2 folks that broke into the home and murdered the Higgins. So he explains that Annabelle and her boyfriend were part of a cult called the Disciples of the Ram, and they were attempting to summon a demon by offering a soul. She starts to look, I think, at some of the imagery from the scene, and she sees the same symbol that was on her arm. So it's tied to like their rituals.
Well, it's like, I think Annabelle had drawn in her own in blood, had drawn the symbol on the wall.
Yes,
next
that's
to her.
what it was. Yeah, scary. Then later, after she talks to the detective and she's starting to gather these things in her mind, she visits the bookstore again, finds that it's run by her neighbor, Evelyn. And Evelyn, is the one that we said lives in her apartment complex. They chat a little bit and she finds her a book called The Devil's Welcome.
Well, this whole exchange with Evelyn's pretty good though, because she almost didn't want to share with Evelyn. Evelyn's like, what are you looking for? I can help you. She's like, oh, I need something on demonic. She's like, oh, aisle 3.
She's like, I got you, girl. Mia learns that the demonic presence is likely seeking a soul. So very, very similar to, Annabelle and her boyfriend, the person Annabelle. She has a little bit of an inkling that it may even have its sights set on Leah because of how much has just happened and how much has been related to Leah in several ways, right? Her being stabbed in the stomach, her falling, like her finding the drawings of her baby getting hit by a bus, all this stuff. It's very, very scary. Mia then reaches the front door of her apartment complex with Leah in the stroller. And this is after she's gone to the bookstore. She's about to go up and she drops her keys. And she's very, very distracted by the reflection of the Annabelle cult lady holding Leah. And she's seeing it in the window pane, right? And so she's like very, very confused. And while she's distracted, the stroller, seemingly with Leah inside, rolls into the street and it is crushed by a passing truck, just like the little drawings that she thought she got from her little neighbors. This scene rocked my fucking world because at this point, you don't know if like, shit, maybe Leah is going to die. Maybe after all of these like close encounters, this is going to be what happens, which seems like it would be a little bit of a cheap shot because it's just like
credits roll.
Yeah. Like, well, and not saying the film's like over, yeah, but you know, like they had all this setup. It wouldn't be like necessarily a big like surprise, but
and these little kids can see the future.
Yeah. They're just like, gotcha. But it did feel very intense. You are questioning, oh my God, is the baby in there? But luckily, Mia is holding Leah. She's shooketh. Totally just like absolutely fucking shook.
So like what do we think that says about Annabelle specifically? Does that say like, does that almost come off like a warning somehow?
Knowing what I know now at the very end of the film about how the demon wants a soul, but it'll also kind of take like any soul. I also feel like it is almost trying to lure Mia in a way that like, hey, here's all these close calls that have happened with your baby. If you just give us your soul, all of this will stop and your baby will be safe.
It's a very good point.
I think that's a very
almost putting the baby in danger,
yes,
on purpose to provoke her to be like, hey, this could happen if you don't.
I think that there's several points in the movie where it's already starting to clue us into that area where it's taunting her. It's literally taunting Mia like, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. It's got to be you or the baby. And we're kind of leaning towards you, maybe.
But in this moment, we think it's the baby.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And demons are tricksters. Moving on, though, while home researching demons, you know, as one does.
Oh, that's not what you do on a Sunday night?
No, I do.
Yeah,
I do. That's, you know, it's very normal for me. A glass of wine, a glass of Chianti, some fava beans. Anyways, Mia hears a rocking chair in Leah's room. Again, with this damn rocking chair.
Bitch loves a rocking chair.
She loves a rocking
chair.
chair.
Do you blame her, though?
No. And she goes to investigate while Leah is in the living room. She gets locked inside and peeks under the door and starts to see books flying off the shelves towards Leah, who is on the floor on a blanket. And
which I think is also, like we were talking about before, it's almost showing like, hey, yeah, I can kill your kid
at any moment,
whenever I want. It would be so easy. So I'm going to drop these giant ass books around your child.
Who is so innocent and fragile and like, you know.
I'm going to find a Webster's dictionary and this thing is right on top of the head.
I'm going to find a Encyclopedia Britannica. And that shit's coming down.
M to R is going to come down on top of this kid.
This part, though, we get a jump scare of Annabelle the doll landing right outside the door where Mia is looking underneath. It's giving like signs, you know, when they look under the, oh, that's scary. Anyways.
I like to think about kind of like how when they were shooting it, because it's like, obviously throughout this scene, like Annabelle doesn't have a personality. Annabelle doesn't just get up and walk around and strut her stuff. Like I always like to think about in this scene where like it's a shot under this door and then one of the crew members just taking the doll and just slamming it on
she's
the
all, hey. She's like, hey, it's Johnny.
Morning,
like,
bitch.
Yeah, literally. You got my fucking rocking chair in there? So
you're rocking away without me?
Mia eventually gets out of the room to grab Leah, and she's able to get her. Leah's totally fine. But then she sees the Annabelle doll rising in the corner, being held by Mr. Demon Man. This is enough after this whole situation for the forms to talk to Father Perez a little bit more seriously. Again, they're thinking like they really need to turn to God for help, and they agree to take Annabelle to church, basically. Father Perez, he agrees that there is some sort of demonic thing like going on. And I loved that Father Perez didn't question it for 1 minute. He was like, let me take this fucking doll from you guys.
Something that's kind of, I don't know, watching all of these movies all together, especially all the Conjuring movies, like what is it about the Catholics and demons specifically?
So I can answer this from a high level point of view, and that is Catholicism has a lot to do with good and evil. So there is a lot of not only talking about God and, repenting for your sins and making sure you're a good person, you're going to get up into heaven, all of that stuff. But they also very much believe that in order to believe in God, you also have to believe in the devil. And that comes with Roman times. Like Catholicism has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And obviously so has Christianity. And Christianity, we also kind of believe in the devil. And I say we, like I grew up, I'm not very religious at all now, but I did grow up as a Methodist. It was very chill though. My church was chill. Anyways, super chill. But we didn't talk a lot about demons or devils or anything. It kind of loomed in the background. We just always talked about God. But Catholicism, they're not scared to address that. And they talk very much about the differences between good and evil. And that's just very high level from what I have Catholic friends. My mom has done a lot of research in like different religions and stuff. So
your mom's a witch.
My mom is a witch. She's absolutely a Wiccan, but she knows a lot of this stuff. And I remember having that exact question when I was younger. And it's also no surprise that exorcisms are only performed by Roman Catholics. That's just the way, I don't know. I'm sure that there are other religions out there that do some form of exorcisms. I'm sure that there are some religions. I think that I've read about some religions in Africa that very much
that makes a lot of sense.
Believe in demonic possession. And, we could even get down to like the practice of voodoo and stuff. I'm going down a rabbit hole, but
thank you for informing everybody. Not me. I've known all of this stuff. What?
You're welcome. Yeah. I don't even know that much, but that's just what I have like learned over the years.
But we learned something new, and that's what's important.
There you go.
The more you know, shooting star.
The reading rainbow.
Reading rainbow.
Anyways, you guys, back into the film. So once Father Perez leaves, he's taken Annabelle and he's going to take Annabelle to the church. John is trying to comfort Mia, tells her to get some sleep. You're looking at me like, I think you just hate John.
I know it's not that I hate John. In this scene, I know that we've come to the defense of John in a lot of these moments, and he has shown these very good characteristics, moments in supporting Mia, even though he hasn't seen these things personally.
Yeah.
There was something about this scene. I don't know if it was just the actor and how he portrayed it, but just the way he was portraying it almost made it seem like John was just humoring her. Where he's still
like, okay, yeah, let our freaking father go take the doll to the church.
And that's what made it tough for me. I don't know if that was on purpose or if that was just the way the actor just went about it, and it just didn't seem that the character John still didn't believe her.
This is what is so fun about watching films with all kinds of people, right? Even you and I. It's like we watch it together. We tend to have like very similar opinions on things. I didn't get that at all. I got like supportive husband
definitely supportive.
I just got like not just supportive, but I just felt like he, even if in his heart of hearts, he's still having a hard time believing her, he chose to believe her.
Yeah, I get it.
But I digress.
To each their own.
To each their own. We're not going to yuck your yum, whatever you believe. But Mr. Father Perez at the church, poor guy, can't even walk in the fucking door because he tries to bring Annabelle in there and a demonic force violently blows him back, injures him terribly. And bitch got yeeted.
And this was the prime example of yeeted. I know we use the term yeeted quite a bit. In this moment.
This is earning a yeet.
Yeet.
Yeah.
In this moment, we don't know if he's alive because we see blood on the ground.
I was very scared.
Yeah. But
I don't like when old people die. It makes me sad.
We knew that Father Perez knew there was some things that were a little fucked up because when he got out of the car, I think he saw Lady Annabelle somewhere in like her white gown, and he knew that you ain't real. And then
he's like, I just need to get to the church as fast as possible.
I need to get inside this bitch.
Yeah. Oof.
And then, nope.
Yeah. He got yeeted. And what do you know? Annabelle's ghost appears and she reclaims the doll. She just takes it with her. We don't know where they went. Maybe they went to the neighborhood bodega to get a sandwich.
Nice. Yeah.
Maybe they went to the park. Maybe they're feeding the ducks at the lake. We don't know.
That would have been nice.
I don't know if Pasadena has any of those things, but
they might.
You never know.
Yeah. Go to a taco shop, both Annabelles in a booth, enjoying a quesadilla.
Yeah. The good news here, though, you guys, is that Father Perez did survive this ordeal, because in our next scene, John is at the hospital and he actually sees like a couple of nuns standing outside of a room, and he almost gets like a bad feeling.
It's like he knew right away.
He knew. He runs over and he's like, oh shit, Father Perez. And Father Perez is actually unconscious at this time, like in some sort of mini coma. He sits next to him. He actually falls asleep wanting to be there for Father Perez. And meanwhile, Mia is having a really good day with Evelyn. Thank God. Because
Evelyn comes over. Evelyn's a treat.
Evelyn is a treat. She's obsessed with baby Leah. They went shopping together. Evelyn bought Leah a couple outfits. Like it was nice to see a positive little interaction with such a dark, negative story that's being told of Mia's life. And Evelyn actually reveals to Mia that she just has like such a special tie for like moms and their daughters, because she had a daughter and her daughter Ruby died in a car accident that she caused by falling asleep. And this actually ended up leading to a suicide attempt on Evelyn's part, because she was having such major survivor's guilt. She talks about how she kind of heard her daughter's voice telling her not to do it because it was not her time. That was just a very spiritual thing that she went through. You know, she loved her daughter so much, and she just wants to pour that same love out to like Mia and Leah.
And it also shows good intentions on Evelyn's part.
Yes.
Meaning that no matter what happens now in the future, Evelyn is always going to come from a good place, no matter what.
Because there was a moment that I'm like, what if this bitch is sinister?
I kind of had some moments
I had
too.
a moment.
You know so much about demonic stuff.
Yep. And you're getting so close to Mia.
The first time I saw this, I was like, is she part of the same cult?
Hey.
She's trying to raise some demons.
She gave some culty vibes a little bit.
A little bit. I'm just telling you, when people are too nice right off the bat,
but
cult.
she's just your nice neighborhood book lady, which that makes a lot of sense.
Nothing wrong with that.
But sometimes those can cross. Those can have they can be the same on a Venn diagram. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's a lot of things, like especially like in writing, where if a character is so upfront, caring, and nice right off the bat, it gives you that feeling of, is there an ulterior motive here?
Oh, yeah.
She's buying gifts for this baby
that she doesn't know, really.
That she doesn't know. She's being super nice, and then suddenly, boom, sacrificing her in the back with a goat.
Oh, okay. Back with Perez, though. So John, like I said, he fell asleep, kind of just waiting for Father Perez to wake up. And Father Perez does end up waking up, and the first fucking thing he does is he warns John. He says, Annabelle's spirit is the one that injured him, and she intends to claim a soul. He's kind of like, bitch, go home, go save Mia, go save Leah, because you need to be with them. She is evil, and I was not able to get that doll into the church. So John, thank God, he rushes home to warn Mia. But before like he's even able to get there, at the apartment with Evelyn and with Mia, there's a knock at the door, and it's pretty intense. And it seems like it might be Father Perez, but it's revealed that it was actually the demon. Things start to escalate in this moment. This is one of the last like scenes of the movie, and things just are going to bounce around a little bit here, but it's a very chaotic moment. There's multiple things happening, and Leah ends up disappearing from her crib, which is terrifying. Mia is rightfully so freaking the fuck out. Like, shooketh.
Mia's freaking out. She was like, hey, Leah's not in her crib. Evelyn's just like, don't matter. Let's get out of here and we'll figure it out. She has the door open. Yeah. She's like, let's go. And then she looks up, sees Mr. Demon Man upside down, and then he yeets her, another great definition of a yeet, and throws her outside of the apartment.
And closes the door. Okay. He locks it too. So now she's locked in, and the walls in one of the rooms fill with crayon that says her soul written in red everywhere. And it's terrifying. Leah is still missing. Mia finds Annabelle in the crib, and out of frustration, Mia takes the doll and smashes it and hurls it across the room, which briefly transforms into what looks like a dead version of Leah, which is terrifying because we said earlier when she saw Annabelle, the person, in the window right outside the apartment complex holding Leah. And then the carriage got ran over by the truck. And now all of a sudden she's magically holding Leah. It's another one of these like tricks. And it reminds me a little bit of the film Oculus. If you guys have seen that, where the main gal, she is trying to take a bite of an apple. It turns out to be a light bulb, but her mind and the spirit in the house tricked her. These demons be tricky.
The demons are fucking assholes.
Yes. Luckily, you guys, though, it turns back into another doll. So it is not baby Leah. Thank fucking God.
Can you imagine in that moment, though? Because this is now the third time I've seen it. And every time I see it and just seeing that baby just lying on the ground, lifeless, that is gnarly work.
I'm not even a mother. I mean, I'm Cowboy's mother, but I am not a human mother. And that rips my heart out. It's obviously a movie. And even in my mind that knows that it's logically a movie, I'm sitting there like, no fucking way. And my heart just dropped to my butt. Truly.
My heart's in my ass.
It is. You know, in this whole like situation that's happening, the demon reveals its demand when it says your soul, and it appears on the window. And then there's like whispering, just like filling the room.
Well, it's on the window and the window starts to open.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much the demon saying,
Come on out.
And
Come on out, bitch. Give me your soul.
Come on over. And but then in this moment too, she can hear like the whispers, yada yada, but then she can still hear Leah crying.
Yeah. And she's screaming Leah's name. Actually, fun fact here. Apparently Mia shouts Leah 89 times throughout the film, that makes sense. Breaking the record of saying a character's name repeatedly in a movie. Good for them.
Crazy work. What's funny, but like hearing that fact, I weirdly didn't really notice.
No, agreed. Maybe because her name is just like a cute, like 2-syllable name versus like if it was like Victoria.
If it would have been Annabelle.
Yeah.
If she would have shouted Annabelle 89 times.
Annabelle. Yeah, that would have been wild. But you guys, in this moment, John and Evelyn are able to enter the room and they find Mia. And Mia is standing in the open window holding the Annabelle doll, and she's attempting to jump. She wants to give the demon her soul in exchange for Leah. She explains this to Evelyn and John that this is what needs to happen, but thankfully John grabs Mia and is able to save her from making that choice. They have a little bit of a moment of just utter despair. What are we going to do? Because this demon's going to want a soul, but none of us want to give that. But Evelyn then intervenes and she stands in the window herself with Annabelle and she's offering herself instead. It's so sad because she makes a comment about how this is what she was meant to do. She makes a call back to her conversation with her daughter when her daughter saved her from her suicide attempt. And she believes that this is the moment that she was meant to step in for. She jumps out of the window. She sacrifices herself and
swan dive.
The immediate threat seems to end. And Annabelle is laying on the floor next to Evelyn at the bottom. Then Annabelle suddenly disappears next to the lifeless Evelyn. And so spooky, very, very spooky. I also just, at this moment when we get that full confirmation that Evelyn is not a sinister character in this, because I'm not going to lie, when she was trying to get Mia out of the apartment at first too, I was like, whoa, what's she trying to do?
That is weird work because it's like we have Mia screaming that her daughter's not there and Evelyn was almost just like.
And the baby's obviously in the apartment somewhere.
Yeah. And Evelyn's like, nah. Fuck it. We got to bounce. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, that was weird.
That moment, I was kind of like, too, I'm like, oh, wait, hold up.
Yeah. But after all this happened, I'm like, Team Evelyn. Love Evelyn. Oh my God, just her heart. I couldn't believe that she did that.
It is kind of funny. I saw a lot of Letterboxd reviews of a lot of people that were like, what is it with horror movies and persons of color?
I just was going to say this.
Having to come in and save the day. Like, what
and like,
is that a trope?
Like, why does she have to sacrifice herself for like a white couple and their fucking baby?
Yeah.
He's going to sacrifice himself.
Sorry.
Did I do a good job?
Yeah, you did great.
I
There's gotta
believe
be another way.
this moment though with Evelyn, it truly just felt so tragic. Like
Oh, it was,
I just
yeah.
feel like she gave this like grandmother vibe and was just so sweet. And she had like lots of wisdom. She had a daughter before. Her and Mia were really connecting on a motherly level.
I did
Like,
read somewhere that they were trying to get Lynn Shay to play this character also.
really? Ooh, that would have been interesting. So that's the end of that scene. And then we immediately get catapulted to about 6 months later. And life has appeared to return to normal. They are going to church and they see Father Perez, and he gifts her a framed photo of her and Leah that he had taken 6 months earlier, which I thought was cute. Little callback.
Not creepy. Father Perez, he's got good intentions. I get it.
So the trauma is seemingly behind them, and the film is like suggesting a little bit of a closure here. However, we flip to another scene, and because we never got closure of exactly where Annabelle went, but
She just went poof.
she went poof. But we find out that she is at some sort of like antique store or like a thrift shop. And she is being purchased by a woman who is purchasing her for her daughter. And the woman recognizes like, oh, this is a collectible. You know, my daughter's going to be psyched. And
But she mentions that her daughter's a nurse.
Yes.
So that's when we are able to connect.
Yep.
The cycle begins.
Yep. And the evil in this case was never destroyed fully, but is going to be simply passed on.
My question is, was this thrift store kind of fucked up for a minute? Is Annabelle able to subside her demonic abilities until she finds the right
I think so. I think she was asleep.
nap time?
Nap time. Yeah. I mean, that's a good question. We could dive like deeper into that. But I
had another thought about thrift stores, because thrift stores have a lot of random old shit.
oh yeah.
Do we think that there's got to be a lot of thrift stores that have some items that have these connections?
Without a doubt.
Totally.
Without a fucking doubt.
I
see people even on my freaking neighborhood Facebook marketplace that are posting shit that's probably haunted.
Totally.
Fully.
Not just half haunted, fully.
I would like to talk to the Antique Roadshow guys and see if they've come across anything fucking haunted. They could do a whole Halloween spinoff just on haunted items that they've come across.
People will pay a premium for that. Mm-hmm. I know Matt Rife would.
Oh, gross. Don't even mention him on this podcast. He doesn't get any airtime here. Anyways, guys, so what were your final thoughts on this film?
We had a lot of good things to say, but it was like all of these good things were good moments. I don't know what it is to blame that makes this so unmemorable. You know, we talked about all these scenes that were like, oh, this was cool. That was cool. It was something about the flow. It was something about maybe it was just this singular character, a mother with a newborn that had some haunting stuff happen. And then those hauntings were cool moments. But then everything in between was kind of like, cool, we're just moving on to the next night. Oh, scary. Oh, okay. Move on to the next night. Woo, scary. Yeah, it was just that the substance wasn't necessarily there. But seeing the second one, I felt like had a really, really good story. So I felt like maybe all of the reviews and complaints about this one, I think was truly rectified in the next one, because that was a top to bottom, really good story.
I agree with you. And I think that it was the middle piece of sort of like a nothing sandwich a bit. Similar to our feelings on the second Stranger Chapters 2, how we already know that it's just setting up chapter 3. So it felt very just empty. Like if you're going to watch them in or in order of what they should be, this would be like the second film. And I did feel like it just sort of, I don't know, I just didn't think it did too much. And I didn't love this one. I thought it was a little bit dry, a little bit boring. But then we get the prequel, and that one was fucking fantastic, you know? And then even the third one, Annabelle Comes Home, not my favorite, but definitely liked it better than this one. So yeah, I just kind of felt like they already knew what they were doing and what direction that they were going. This was just a necessary step to get there. And I think that unfortunately it just didn't entertain me a whole lot. Like you said, there were good discussion points. There were good moments. Loved that scene that was directed by James Wan.
That was the best scene.
But
but in that moment, is the director the one to blame? I don't know. Is it a visual issue? Is it a writing issue?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It really didn't hit for me. And that's hard for me to say because I usually can enjoy something. And I don't have a desire to watch this again. I probably won't, if I'm being completely honest, unless for some reason we're going to watch all three and we want to like really have all three fresh in our mind. But I think I'm good. The actors were still good. Like parts of it were good. It just
It had
didn't.
good pieces, but the pieces didn't come together.
No, they didn't come together.
Especially it's like the doll itself. The doll itself did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, she really didn't do anything.
It truly was a prop. The doll moved once, and it was because it was held by Mr. Demon.
Yeah, fully agree there. That being said, though, I am excited to do some reviews of the other Annabelle films, and I would personally like to dive back into The Nun. It's been a long time since I saw the very first one, so maybe that's our next weekend activity.
We'll see another Farmiga.
Perfect. I love her.
The younger of the Farmigas.
I love the Farmigas sisters. They're the best. Well, everyone, that was Annabelle from 2014. If you are not already following us on Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd, all of the things, you can find us at Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. And if you'd like to join our book club, get some bonus content, or check out our show notes, please feel free to join us over on Patreon. But honestly, you guys, the best way to support us is to just tell another friend how much you love the podcast. And with that, I'm going to take the honors today, if that's okay. And I'm going to close out for Allison, and I hope that I really make her proud. So
don't screw it up.
Oh, God. Okay. Mind your dolls, mind your demons, and stay spooky fuckers.